Alright, I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be going over a game that I played all the way back in 2017 when I was Sub-2000 and hadn't hit Expert yet. I was 1864 at the time, playing a 1779 in a classical tournament, so long time control. And in this game, I was able to obtain roughly 95 or 96% accuracy in the game according to chess.com's game review, even when I was sub-expert. And I think this game is a great example of how to use all of your pieces to conduct an attack. So let's just dive right in. I open the game up with d4. We have knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, and after d5, my opponent goes for a Grunfeld defense. Generally, I don't suggest this opening for people below 2000 or master level because it's a very dynamic opening and you can get yourself in trouble with the black pieces if you do not know what you're doing. So I opt to play c takes d5, and after knight takes d5, I play a line that I know quite well and enjoy playing. I play bishop to d2. And the plan with bishop to d2 is that I want to play e4, and after knight takes c3, I want to recapture with the bishop. But the main plan is to get a big center, if possible, without having to recapture with the pawn, and I can get my bishop involved, and I can also potentially get a rook to the c-file at the right time. A lot of ideas here. So bishop to g7 is played, e4, and then generally I think the best move is knight to b6, but a lot of people choose to play knight takes c3, and that's what my opponent does in the game. Knight takes c3, bishop takes c3, and black castles. In this position I choose to play knight f3, maybe not the best option, simply because black does have the option of playing bishop g4 here. There are a couple other moves to consider, like rook c1, maybe queen d3, bishop to e2 is a reasonable move. I think f4 is also possible, but I choose to play knight f3 here, pretty standard. And black plays rook to e8, which is a little bit of an inferior move. I think it's a little bit passive. You undefend f7 a little bit, and you're really not looking to play e5 right away. I think it's more of a reasonable idea to look to play c5 or play bishop to g4 or maybe knight c6, something along those lines. But rook to e8 just doesn't seem like the most pressing way to tackle this opening, just because you're not developing a piece. Bishop to c4. I think this is a logical move just because after rook to e8, f7 is slightly undefended now, so I just want to target f7 and put this bishop on a good diagonal. Maybe knight g5 at the right time could be problematic for black. Knight to c6 is played, and I play queen to b3. So the engine considers this a bit of an inaccuracy, but I think this is a very logical move, just trying to create a battery along this diagonal, which can seriously give black problems. So knight to c6 was a little bit inferior. I think the engine probably prefers something like castle, maybe h4 or h5 type ideas, maybe h3 to prevent bishop g4, but I think queen to b3 is a very logical move. So black plays e6, really the only move to stop me from crashing through on f7, but you can see the problem with this move is that after e6, this bishop is blocked in. So I play rook to d1, centralizing my rook, overprotecting d4, maybe looking to play d5 at the right time. Not right now because this rook is opposite my king and it could cause some problems, but after I castle, this is certainly a possibility. Queen to e7, castle, a6. A bit of a strange move here. I'm not entirely sure what the idea is. I think it's maybe because black wants to play b5, but this is just a very slow plan, and it's really difficult to suggest a plan here for black, just because black is so passive. But I think the idea is to try and play b5, but this is just a very slow plan and allows me to gain an initiative very quickly. So after a6, I play d5, just attempting to open up the center Black really wants to play knight a5 and fork my queen and bishop, but unfortunately they can't do that because of this bishop. And I really just want to rip open the center and put my rooks on these open files if they become open. So e takes d5 is a mistake. It's really hard to suggest here. I think b5 is probably the best move. There are no really great squares to put this knight if you want to move this knight. Knight to b8 and knight to d8 and knight to a7 are all very unpleasant options. So b5, trying to cause a little bit of chaos, could be the best option. But instead in the game we have e takes d5, e takes d5, and after knight to a7, I simply play rook f to e1, which is my plan all along. So to put my rooks on open files, and you can really see my pieces are just significantly better here. Queen to d7 is played, and I play d6, just forcing the position to open up, opening up this diagonal, and really just trying to take advantage of Black's really underdeveloped and uncoordinated piece play. Rook takes e1, rook takes e1, c takes d6, so I've given up a pawn here. I'm down a pawn, but my pieces are just far superior, and after knight to g5, it's very apparent that Black has some problems because I have 3 pieces aimed at f7, this knight, this bishop, and this queen. So Black really doesn't have a defense of f7, and I'm really going to start crashing through. Meanwhile, these pieces are pretty useless over on the queen side. So bishop takes c3 is tried, but I throw in bishop takes f7 check in between move, and then king to g7, queen takes c3. King has to go to h6. If the king goes to f8, queen h8 is checkmate. So king has to go to h6, and then I play knight to e6. Note that if queen takes f7 here, queen to h3 is checkmate because this knight covers g5 and g7. So you can't play queen takes f7, but Black's king is unfortunately in too much danger here and isn't really going to be able to make it out. Queen to b5 is tried, but there's really not a whole lot to suggest here. After queen to b5, I play queen g7 check, king h5, queen takes h7, and after king to g4, the very nice queen to h3 checkmate. So I thought this was a really good example of how you can use all of your pieces to conduct a very good attack and take advantage of underdevelopment and uncoordinated piece play or passive play by the opponent. So I thought this was a good game to show. Even though I was sub 2000 at the time, I still was able to conduct a very nice attack, and I hope this was instructive.